Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Personne Extraordinaire. Through this interview series, I'm attempting to profile people who've made an extraordinary impact in their respective fields to engage and uplift others and help them be the best versions of themselves. Today's guest holds a very special place in my heart, and I'm indeed honored to introduce to you someone whose presence in my life I cherish immensely. A very warm welcome to Miss Usha. Usha currently heads the data science research at Exa Protocol, and she's the world's first woman triple Kaggle Grandmaster. She specializes in deep learning and probabilistic graphic models, and is also was also one of the judges of Tiger Graph for All $1 Million Challenge in 2022, and the judge for Intel oneAPI Hackathon organized by Intel Software in 2022. She is ranked as one of the top 10 data scientists in India for the year 2020 by Analytics India magazine, ranked as top 10 women data scientists by Analytics Insight magazine for 2021, and also ranked as top 150 AI leaders and influencers by 3AI magazine. She organized NeuroAI, which is India's first ever research symposium in the interface of neuroscience and data science. She also organized the Neurodiversity India Summit, which is India's first ever conference in neurodiversity. She is one of the first winners of the ML in Action competition organized by ML Developer Programs team at Google, and her team won first place in the WIDS 2022 Datathon organized by Stanford University. She's also a winner of the Kaggle ML Research Spotlight for 2022. A very warm welcome, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be part of these initiatives, and I look up to you a lot in this advocacy space. And it's my pleasure and honor to be your guest at this. You're doing great work and continue doing great work. I'm all here to support you in whatever initiatives you take up.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay. So, to start off, what is a fun fact about yourself? This can be a favorite animal, food, hobby, or anything else.
Okay. Something about me is I used to be an athlete back in school, and I was a Coco player. And I was born and brought up in Chennai from Tamil Nadu, but I currently stay in Bangalore. So I've represented during my school days and universities, I've represented Tamil Nadu twice in the national games. And I also, outside Coco, I also run. I mean, I take up 100 meters, 200 meters, 100 and 400 meters relay, but not at the national level. At the zonals and the state level, I've won a lot of medals. And I always have this passion and interest for sports. I wanted to take up sports as my profession as well at some point in my life, but it didn't happen. And but I still keep in touch with sports in some form or the other. Currently, I'm learning Muay Thai, which is a form of a martial arts, and I'm like training in one of the good centers in Bangalore. And they teach 5 forms of martial arts, and right now I'm focusing on Muay Thai, which is the national game of Thailand as well. So I would highly recommend, everyone who's watching this to also take up some form of a martial arts or the other. For me, it has been a great journey so far, and it has really helped me, build a lot of mental resilience. A byproduct of attending those sessions is been, building a strong mental resilience, and it has, penetrated into a lot more other aspects of the life as well. So yeah, this is about me.
You're such a multi talented personality, Usha, ma'am, but somehow seeing you seamlessly segue between IT and advocacy for neurodiversity, I'm not at all surprised. It's really rare that career paths follow a straight line from where they started to where they are today. Would you please care to share a little bit about your own journey? Who or what was your inspiration, and some interesting experiences along the way that shaped you as a person?
Yeah, sure. So although I had mentioned earlier, like, I wanted to pursue sports as my career, because I was doing really good at that point of time. But then my parents did not allow me to pursue sports as my full-time career. They said, you can just participate in events, but not take it up as in a career. So after I did my engineering and computer science, I got placed in some IT companies and startups where I was predominantly working on building products for investment banking softwares and core banking softwares. Most of the international banks, I was, behind the scenes working for them, building products. And so I always had, over the period of time, I've developed a lot of interest for quantitative finance. It was very interesting. A lot of mathematics was there. So I had to clear a lot of mandatory certifications to be part of the certain projects and all that. So I always thought I would be, pursuing finance as my career till the end. But then fate had some other plans for me. I accidentally got into some kind of a data science project. I just took data science courses by chance. I never thought it would be my career at any point. I was just randomly taking a lot of more data science courses, just studying it out of passion. And then it so happened I took up a data science project as a part-time project at some point, and the project was very successful. It clicked really well, and things happened one after the other. Then I became a data scientist, and I was taking up a lot of consulting projects, and so it was very good. And right now, this year, I've joined as a chief of research at Exa Protocol. I'm also one of the founding members there. And this is a very interesting project. And, at Exa, we are building a decentralized storage system for mobile. And we have published our first research paper, which got selected in IM Bangalore Analytics Conference as well. And we've also like completed our yellow paper, which is how the entire product works and all that. And so, yeah, my role specifically involves building a lot of AI based algorithms to prevent hackers from entering the network. So, I would put it as a lot more work in the intersection of cybersecurity and, artificial intelligence. To prevent hackers and miners from destroying or causing any harm to the decentralized network which we are trying to build. Yeah, this is about my roughly about my career journey.
So it's so impressive the way you've used different learnings from your day job to add value to an area where you're so passionate. I have so much to learn from you, and I'm so glad our paths crossed, man. You're very active in advocacy nationally and internationally around neurodiversity, and you're closely associated with the Neurodiversity India Summit. Can you explain what exactly the summit is about and what it aims to achieve?
Yeah, sure. The Neurodiversity India Summit, third edition happened recently, where you were one of the speakers at the summit. And so the summit had its inception in 2020, where we had the first inception of the summit. We are almost into 3 years right now. And there's a lot of progress in advocacy. We could explicitly see in many of the organizations. In 2020, when we started the first edition, there was not much response from the corporate organizations or the startup to even engage in a conversation. They were not willing to even listen. And there were few organizations, who were, very strong advocates, participated in the first and second edition, but not many of them. But in the third year, we saw enormous response. Our speaker list also grew from, 816 to now 80. And so there's a lot of participation and interest from the corporates, and which is seen from the number of companies who participated in the pre-conference summit. So we had four pre-conferences summit, the first one in Google, then we had one in Publicis Sapient, and two of them in IBM, where we brought in like a clinical, neurosurgeons, psychiatrists to come and create an awareness sessions. So this was a huge hit. We had a total of 500 people in the pre-conference sessions. For the organizations to agree to, agree for to even make us part of their schedule, event schedule to help, allow us to come and conduct an awareness sessions for their employees itself is a great leap. Back in just 2-3 years, the whole mindset of people has changed a lot, and now organizations are more willing to open up and more willing to have conversations around neurodiversity, which itself is a great success for us. And in the future years, we are planning to extend a lot more. One more thing which I would like to add is back in 2019, we had a predecessor to Neurodiversity India Summit, which was called NeuroAI. So NeuroAI is one of the first research symposium in the interface of neuroscience and data science. And we had a lot of top 50 neuroscientists across the world come and speak at the summit as well. And we had a lot of dialogues and discussions on how AI and other technologies can help neurodiverse people. And because of the pandemic, we were not able to have offline sessions after the 2019 uh, summit, but we are looking forward to organize more such neuro AI summits as well in future, where having more dialogues or discussions around how technology can be used to help neurodiverse people will definitely be a leap forward in this initiative. And yeah, I in my capacity, personal capacity, I also give a lot of talks on AI for autism. So I talk about the use cases of how artificial intelligence can be used to help autistic people as well. So these are some of the initiatives which I've been running through. I'm looking forward to expand it and more aggressively advocate in the future. Let's see how it turns out. And by the way, thank you for being a part of this year's summit. I do hope to host you in future summits as well.
It is my pleasure, ma'am. And the pandemic has brought to the forefront conversations about neurodiversity, and this will help DEI become more than just a buzz phrase that is mentioned here and there. I am so grateful to you for having given me an opportunity to speak at the Neurodiversity India Summit, and I do hope to continue to speak at this August forum going forward.
Thank you.
I personally think that ableism and social and structural issues like lack of accessibility continue to present barriers for people with disabilities around the world. What, in your opinion, are the best ways to tackle these barriers? And can you give us some examples of the best practices that you've come across?
Yeah, definitely. This is a very, very important question. Thank you so much for asking it. So, one of the first things which I would like to list as a best practice is see when there are decisions which are made for neurodiverse people, or when there are decisions which are made for people with disabilities, then we must have, if there's a board or a committee which is formed, we must have people with disabilities on the board as a decision makers. Or when there are laws or policies which is being framed for organizations with regards to neurodiversity, there should be neurodiverse people themselves sitting on the board, because neurodiverse people should be the right people who can decide for themselves. And so this I see as a very, very important stepping stone. And a lot of organizations at the moment do not have neurodiverse people sitting on the board when they make laws and policies for neurodiversity, and the same with applies for disabilities as well. That has to change. And the second thing is, when in terms of hiring process as well, organizations should have more neurodiverse people and people with disabilities as decision makers in the prime vital roles in the senior executive level leaderships as well. And no, it shouldn't rest. This is not just for the organizations and corporates, but it should reflect in other walks of our community as well. We should have more lawmakers. We should have ministers who are neurodiverse and people and disabled people with disabilities as ministers, lawmakers, or governors. In all walks of life, we need people in the leadership roles who will help make, create the right decisions and policies for neurodiverse or the people with disabilities. That is one thing. And second thing is, these are things which has to be inculcated right from an early age. So if you take up the curriculum, school curriculum, there are many important aspects of life which is very, very important for the child's growth is being ignored usually. And having disability awareness programs as a part of a school curriculum will teach the child to be more accepting of people who are different from themselves, or more accepting of people with disabilities, and have developing a lot more tolerance. And they'll also be more coming up, they'll be more emotionally intelligence as well. These are key skills which has to be taught as a part of school curriculum. And our Indian curriculum particularly, not all, there are schools where these things are still taught, but the majority of the schools do not have such things as a part of the curriculum. There are like 1 to 3% of the schools right now itself, they have disability awareness training, and they also have emotional intelligence training and all that, but not all schools, and 97% of the schools who do not have such training. So teaching kids these important vital skills at an early age will set the right examples. We are building the inculcating the right habits and right process and right thoughts of thinking from a very early age, which is very important. And this will also like prevent the other things, like when a child learns how to be more accepting of people who are different from each other, there's no it will also reduce other things like bullying, at school, neurodiverse people or people with disabilities or people who are very different, are being bullied. So all these things will come down as well as a result. So this is also something which I would highly recommend. And yeah, so these are some of my, some of my thought process around this topic. Yeah.
I agree completely with you, ma'am, and I also believe that it is very important for conversations around these topics to be had at all levels, often and even starting young. Only then will children be able to internalize these concepts, and solutions to today's problems will arise to them naturally. Okay. My final question to you for the day is if you could just share some parting pearls of wisdom with our listeners on how we can make this world a kinder and more inclusive place to live in.
Yeah, definitely. So my parting thoughts would be, we need more advocates for accessibility of technology. Technology can play a huge role, and in how it can have a huge impact on people with disabilities and people who are neurodiverse. And so we need more advocates, and there should be more aggressiveness in advocating as well. Right now it is just one of the agendas for organizations. Organizations should start making it a top priority, because the pace at which they do, if they just make it a one of the thousand things which they do, the pace at which the progress happens is going to be very slow. They should make it as a top priority. That is also more important. And engaging in inclusive communication is very, very important. People, we are very careless about, lot more about how we speak. We don't pay a lot more attention to, how we speak and how our words are going to impact the other people as well. So inclusive communication has to be, given a lot more importance. So, maybe if a person is working in an organizations can come up with inclusivity training. And not just right now, I see a lot of organizations having inclusive leadership training. So inclusivity is not restricted to leadership alone. I mean, every A to Z, all the employees in the company should be given these kind of inclusive training, disability awareness trainings for all levels of everyone. Every employee in the company should be given. And it's not like one time in a year. It has to be like at frequent intervals, like every month there should be 1 hour of training or something like that. At frequent intervals, these trainings should be given. Otherwise people might forget it and not practice it diligently. So having such trainings at regular intervals is important. For all levels is also important, not just for organizations. It should be like penetrating, the impact should also come through communities as well, other communities as well. So, and Yeah. And one more thing is revision of policies. Some of the policies for people with disabilities are outdated because we are progressing at a very fast speed. The policies which were there 20 years back does not apply for the current generation, or it has to be relooked and revised as well. Not policies when I mean all kinds of policies like legal policies, work policies, disability rights. A lot more revision has to happen for all of these policies. Most of them are outdated, so, the government should also play an active role in revision of legal policies, and organizations should also rework their legal policies and things like that at regular intervals. And yeah, these are some of my suggestions for a more inclusive and kinder world. And thank you so much once again, like, for making me part of this session. And I really enjoyed being part of the session. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And you're doing fantastic work. Keep doing great work.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I absolutely loved your response. I can tell you that I learned so much from interacting with you right now, and even in the Neurodiversity Summit. Your insightful and thought provoking responses are food for thought for all of our listeners, young and old, and they'll definitely help us all internalize how we can make this world a kinder and more humane place to live in. Thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, Zen. Best wishes for your future episodes, and best wishes for everything you do. Have a great New Year 2023. Yeah, thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much.